So let's go over real quickly before we get into the rest of the juicy videos. With this was one particular clip that kind of just solidifies what we have been talking about. In fact, we covered a story all about this subject on episode 114. And here we have none other than Caitlyn Jenner agreeing with us, if you can believe it. Check this out.
Question of fairness. That's why I oppose biological boys who are trans competing in girl sports in school. It just isn't fair. And we have to protect girl sports.
So Caitlyn Jenner should know one or two things about it, right? I mean, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, that person has had a long history, and I mean, they won gold, right?
Yeah.
In their sporting field. What was she running? Like 100 meters or something.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. But she should know, right? I mean, exactly what we covered on episode 114, right? Which, by the way, you know, people came out already. One person in particular to call us we're transphobic apparently. Of course, they're headline readers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. We get called all kind of good old things. And I called out the person back. I'm like, did you even see the video? You know, neither Josh or I are here saying that, you know, trans women shouldn't exist or something. We're just saying that it's not the same when it comes to them competing in sports with other biological women. And here you have someone like Caitlyn Jenner, who, again, I think would have a lot of authority, both as an athlete, by the way, right? And as a trans woman, in saying, no, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Exactly. I mean, she said it perfectly. It was like it just comes down to fairness, right? And it's not fair because they have different muscle mass. Just genetically, they are different because they are. I don't want to be too rough about it, but they were not biologically born women, and that is a fact. Okay, I mean, facts are not overruled by your feelings, I'm afraid.
I mean, come on. How much more, right? Can people, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna say it, bend over to, no pun intended here, to not hurt other people's feelings just because they want to ignore the facts. Facts, as you said, don't care about your feelings. Like, it just, they're not going to change. You know, just because you feel that what Josh or I said on that episode, it was like transphobic. I don't even know how, because we're not against trans women or trans men, right? But they're not.
The trans community in general, we're not against it.
Exactly.
In fact, I think we've even got friends who are in the trans community. It doesn't, just because we say that they can't be doing the same sport as biologically born women does not make us transphobic. It means that we are open to looking at the facts without hurt. I mean, I'm sorry if you're offended, but at least you watched the video, so thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, listen, you're hearing it here, right? From two guys plus someone that, unless you are Caitlyn Jenner, by the way, or someone in a very similar position to Caitlyn Jenner would have way more authority than probably anyone having an opinion over this, or even more opinion than Josh and I. Why? Because she was an Olympian athlete, right? And she is a trans woman. And she's saying it's just not fair. So I think we'll leave it there. I just wanted to start the show off with a little bit of that for those of you guys that come here just to hate. There you go. You wanna argue? Go argue. I mean, good luck with an Olympian who is also a trans woman, and go tell her that she's a transphobic. Yeah, good luck with that. All right, let's move on to the next story. This one's gonna be a juicy one, just like the other probably 4 stories that we have here. But this one here is fresh. Here we have a woman who claims she's a teacher. By the way, she claims, so it's all alleged still. But in the video we're about to play, oh yeah, she says she's a teacher. When she gets stopped by a deputy, she repeatedly calls him, quote, murder and a racist. And she calls him something that's way worse. And by the way, it'll just solidify what we talked about in previous videos, right? Specifically, I believe it was episode, where is it? It was episode, here we go, 107, right? Where we talked about black privilege, and you're going to see why it solidifies that point. Turn me down a little bit on your end. I think I'm coming a little hot. So.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, there was just one thing that I saw as well,
Sure,
JT,
sure.
Under the headline, tells cop,
Oh, yeah.
Mexican racist, ... you'll never be white.
Right.
That's why I laughed. I was like,
Oh, it's
wow.
hilarious, man. Oh, you caught on to that, huh? Oh, no, when you actually hear it play out, it's even funnier. So in the article here, before we watch the clip, it says that a woman who claimed she was a teacher driving a white Mercedes-Benz got stopped by a Latino Los Angeles Sheriff's Department deputy for using her cell phone while she was driving, then launched into a tirade in which she repeatedly accused him of being a, quote, murderer, then concluded by basically telling him he's a Mexican racist. You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right? The exchange caught on video by the deputy's body cam went like this. So they have the transcript. Let's just watch the video, right? Because it just really sends, a different message when you actually see the video versus just reading the transcript. So it's about 2 minutes long. All right, I'm gonna play the whole thing so you guys can see it.
You know why I'm being harassed today? Because I was going under the speed limit. I was going at 38.
Yes, you are, ma'am. Good morning.
And the speed limit is 40, and I was going 38. So why are you harassing
You are
me?
correct. I pulled you over
Because you're a murderer.
because
yes, I started to record because
you can't
you're a murderer.
you can't be on your cell phone while you're driving.
I wasn't on my phone. I was recording you because you scared me.
You can't use your cell phone while you're recording.
you.
May I have your driver's license?
It's at my apartment.
What's your apartment?
It's at my home. I'm just taking my son to his.
Do you have your driver's license?
I mistakenly left it at home.
Do you have a picture of your driver's license?
Yes, I do.
May I have it?
And can you call your supervisor, please? Because
I already did. He's on his way.
good, because you're a murderer.
Okay.
It's
And
like
so
the
you're giving me
Karen
a cell
catchphrase,
phone
right?
ticket? Is that why you're harassing me?
Not harassment. I am enforcing the law.
I have a right to record the police when they're harassing me.
By all means, but you can't do it while you're driving.
I wasn't texting or none of that.
Do you have
And
that
you
picture?
scared me and made me think you were going to murder me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, that's not just a feeling. You're a murderer.
Okay. Can you zoom in on that for me, dear?
Sure.
Thank you.
And I'm perfectly legal, and I'm a teacher. So there.
Congratulations.
Murderer. You're a murderer.
What's your last name? I can't see that there.
Well,
If
here you
stop,
go,
Stop
murderer.
shaking. Zoom in on that for
No,
me,
because
ma'am.
you're scaring me.
Oh,
You're threatening to kill me and my son. Can you give me
Okay.
the
Well,
iPad,
I'll
please?
tell you what. You keep smiling. You're on camera.
You're trying to threaten to kill me.
I
I'm not
didn't say that.
smiling. You're the one who's crazy.
Hold that still. I can't see that. Is this your car?
Yes, it is. And you're trying to say I stole my own car because you're jealous?
Yeah,
Is that what
I don't
that's
think
about?
so. You wait for me right here, okay?
You're jealous?
Citation. All you need to do is your signature. He's only citing you for using your cell phone while you're driving. That's it.
There you go, ma'am. Sign inside the
For,
red
being
box right
for
there.
him being a Mexican racist. What is that name?
It's on the
Gasso?
citation, ma'am.
Here you go, Mexican racist. You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right? You'll never be white, which is what you really want to be.
There you
want to
go,
be
dear.
white.
Have a good day.
You want to be white so bad.
So let me start by saying something that's like, it eats me up every single time I hear it. Every single effing time that I hear it from other minorities. All right. So for those of you minorities listening to me right now, just because a person of color, a minority, stands up for a white individual doesn't mean they want to be white. It means they're standing up for injustice, just like many people claim to stand up for injustice for, an example, black individuals. All right. I want everybody to understand. I've said this, I don't know how many times, and I feel like I can never say it enough. If back in the day, 40s, the 50s, pick your time when allegedly either segregation or slavery were at its worst. Okay. I wasn't there, but I'm sure some of you guys will try to claim and act like you have been, but okay. All right. That's besides the point. Just imagine if Bob was being told by, I don't know, Deborah, Bob, don't worry about the black problems. Don't go rally behind them. Don't support them, getting out of, slavery. Or again, don't support movements that were trying to to end segregation. And Bob, just listen to Deborah, to Mary, whoever, right? What am I trying to say here, right? If back in the day, because if you guys don't know your history, you had white individuals who just cared only about their problems and didn't stand up for either black people or just minorities, period. Black people, brown people, all these minorities always try to act like they were the only people responsible for getting out of the problems of the past, whether it was slavery or segregation, right? And never acknowledging that there was plenty of white individuals that got out of their own privilege a long time ago, decades and decades before any of us were born, right? And cared enough to stand up with people of color. So how is that any different when you have a person of color, right? Such as myself, which I've been called myself, I've said here before, coconut and all these racial slurs, because I choose to stand up, right, for white individuals when I see a clear injustice. Right? Here we have a cop who is apparently, according to this lady, a Mexican, right? And she was saying it in a very hateful way as well, almost to insult. Not that it is an insult to be called a Mexican. I'm a Mexican. I'll call myself a Mexican. It's not an insult. But you can kind of hear it in her tone, right? You Mexican, over and over. By the way, notice her skin tone? Anybody notice her skin tone? There's that privilege I was talking about, that person of color privilege. Because if that person would have been white, pure white, like Josh, white, and would be saying that, it would be all over the news right now. CNN will be covering it. White KKK member. They can't even confirm it is, but they will be saying it. White supremacist calls a Hispanic, a Latino, cop, a Mexican. And that person, effectively, we would want that person to be freaking burned at the stake. Right? If it was a white individual. But in this case, it was a person of color calling apparently a Mexican, just a Mexican, you're a Mexican, you'll never be white. I mean, she doesn't have her license. I'm not sure in the other, parts of the world, but in the US, you have to carry your license, all right? Yeah. Period. So she doesn't have her license. She's being asked, is this your vehicle? Standard question, right? And all of a sudden, she comes out with the cop was trying to murder her. If there was no body cam, can you imagine those accusations that she was being murdered? Anybody see in that clip how the cop was trying to murder her? Okay, what else? What else did she throw around? Oh, maybe you're insinuating this is not my car. You're jealous. And she's saying she's a teacher. You can argue, dude. She's probably not. She's probably crazy. I would probably be inclined to agree with that statement. She's definitely crazy. But I don't know that it's so crazy to assume that she actually is a teacher, that she's not lying. And I'm going to show you in a minute why I say that. But first, let's go to Josh's comments.
No, it's kind of funny because it's like you have kids, JT. You know what it's like when you catch them doing something they're not doing and then they try to lie.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, and they get angrier and angrier. That's pretty much what we saw in that video, pretty much there. This person, they knew that they did wrong. So what's their initial reaction? Just to try and flip it round. I mean, kudos to the cop for saying so level-headed, because someone else might have actually just flipped their lid and, actually pulled her out of the car. You know what I mean? But the guy stayed calm. He stayed collected, and he did his job as he should have done, even though he was getting, pretty radical
insults,
abuse,
yeah,
for his race as well.
Yeah. I mean, all kinds of different ways. Murder. I mean, just again, I want people to really try to, even those cop haters out there, try to really put yourself in those shoes, right? That you have a job that you're doing. And don't try to come at me telling me, well, they don't have to do that job. Yeah, just like you don't have to do whatever job that is that you do. But you do it because you want to do it, right? But doesn't mean automatically you deserve to be belittled, berated, abused like that. It just doesn't mean that you deserve it, period, right? So here we have a police officer, like you saw, everybody seen there, approaching the vehicle, no guns drawn, as we usually see, to be fair, pretty calm. And here is an individual, not even asked to get out of her car. Standard questioning. Where's your driver's license? Is this your vehicle? And he's just being slammed with things like murder. I mean, how would you feel, right? If you continuously get called a murderer in the street, Josh, you're a murderer, you're a murderer, you're a murderer, and you're like, all right, what's your driver's license? You're a murderer, Josh. You're a murderer.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Well, I think that's probably the thing that's made my my opinion a lot, has made me have less of an opinion on the subject, because every time anyone has an opinion on the subject, if you're not black or a minority, you're wrong.
bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. Like,
well, yeah, I think it's not everybody, and it's a shame.
Oh, no,
like,
it's not.
Like you said before, it's not everybody like that from that certain group of people, but it's just because of news being the way it is, we just get the nuggets.
right, the headlines. Right, exactly. So there's a little bit of a silver lining, not with this police officer, but finally people thinking they can get away with murder, metaphorically speaking, of course. Seattle chocolate shop fires employee who denied service to a police officer. Right? Or police officers. So let me leave something very clear. If my videos haven't left that already clear in my comments, I back the blue. All right? I do believe that there are plenty of bad cops out there. Plenty of them. Not just one or two. Plenty of bad, shitty pieces of cops that exist out in the world. All over the world. Right? Cops that take bribes. Cops that like to just, I don't know, they get off on abusing other individuals. I'm sure there are. But it doesn't mean that they speak for the vast majority. Just like I stand up for any kind of discrimination against any race, including white people being discriminated upon, I back the blue because I believe that, first of all, I don't want to live in a society, because I've seen those societies that are lawless, that the gangs, the cartels, they run the towns. They run the little store. If you want to be an aspiring entrepreneur, open up a little store, not unless you ask the cartels for permission and you pay what's called piso. Been in those situations personally. I don't want to live in a country like that. Or I want to live in a country where if I have a neighbor who all of a sudden starts doing drugs and starts going around trying to break into vehicles or something, I want to be able to call it 911 and for that to be dealt with. I haven't called 911 in decades. I think in my whole life, a few times at most. And guess what? Here I am with no stories of me being, thrown on the floor or shot. Clearly, I'm right here. Right? Because I know how to behave myself. And I'm a person of color. A very dark person of color, for that matter. And I've lived in many places around the U.S. Unlike many people, I have gotten out of my little bubble, out of my little nutshell, and I've moved around, including living in Mexico for a little bit. And even in Mexico, I wasn't put on the ground or shot or humiliated because, again, I know how to follow the foot of the law. And whenever there's a police officer that even slightly has tried to, abuse his power, I know how to call it out. I know how to go about it to make sure not only do I file a complaint, but I get the matter resolved. But the point here is that that's not the vast majority of situations. Of course, there's a vast majority of situations the media tries to put in front of you for you to hate the cops. And most people, sadly, are just drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Because headline readers, like Josh just said. But in this particular article here, I feel a little happy to see that there is a little silver lining. All right, so the little article here goes on to describe, a little bit of the article, they go on to say that a Seattle chocolate shop has fired an employee who denied service to police officers. Quote, "We work to advance diversity and inclusion at our business and for our team members to follow their passions and to be engaged in critical issues we face as a city and a nation." Chocolate owner Christian Wong wrote in his statement last week. However, he continues, Christian, right? "Our team members cannot decide which customers to serve based on their own personal political beliefs." Thank you. Now, I don't know if this particular shop, turned around and gave such a statement because they got so much backlash, possibly. But you know what? I'll take it in comparison to how many woke companies exist out there that essentially their employees run their business. Now, as a business owner, I'm a true believer that businesses need to cherish and value their employees, treat them with fairness. There are many people that have worked for me, all right? And my social media is full with great messages from them. Now, it doesn't mean that an employee gets to stomp their feet and all of a sudden we go woke so that we don't go broke. And all of a sudden we just turn around police officers. Not because they did anything to our business. It's because, like the statement here says, because of their own personal beliefs. All right? This is simply not an acceptable practice at our business. And good for a Christian. All right? Because this is more of what we need to see when employees decide essentially to hijack businesses. I mean, we've seen stories, and if you guys haven't, right, I can tell you there's stories out there of the likes of Spotify, right? Also one of the platforms, by the way, that we're located in, that employees are trying to hijack Spotify just to get Joe Rogan deplatformed because of political views that Joe Rogan has, right? But that is the Joe Rogan show. That's just what, some of the stuff that he talks about. Doesn't mean that Joe Rogan represents Spotify. Joe Rogan represents JRE, right? The Joe Rogan experience. But Spotify employees don't seem to want to understand that, and they want to hijack it. And they'll protest and they'll do walkouts. And since Joe Rogan moved over there, right? But that's, besides the point. Here, again, I'm very happy to see that Elisa Shop said, no, you're fired. You're not going to just turn around police officers because you have a political view. No, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I think what's his name, Christian Wong. He's done right, and he's stayed level-headed. And instead of going woke, he's decided to go the way of sanity, I guess you could say.
To be fair, right? I mean, just to be fair,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just it's really all we can ask for. It's fairness. But check this video out. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Just whilst I'm thinking about it, it's so. If anyone does get pissed off about this, think about it like this. Imagine if there was a neo-Nazi working at that chocolate shop. Black guy walks in and he doesn't serve him.
There you go. Good point.
There you go.
Then what, right?
Think about it.
Then what? Should that person not be fired? Absolutely not. Get that mother effer out of there. That's what I would say. No dip for that now. But check this video out that really comes from a cop. Like I've been saying in the previous episodes, I really try my best to collect assets, right? Videos, images that really not only will make our point, right? And help us make our point, but really you kind of hear it from the horse's mouth kind of thing, right? Like with the whole Caitlyn Jenner video. So that you don't just think it's just some Brit and some Mexican talking crazy on a show. No. It is that. plus some videos. Okay. So check this one out real quick. All right. Here we have a cop that when you hear it, man, it really, if you stop and you really just, hear it as a human, not as an activist, not as a woke individual, it really does kind of like, move you a little bit. But check it out.
I wake up every morning and kiss my family goodbye, knowing that there's a possibility I won't come home. I am tired of every time I wake up in the morning, there's someone else polarizing the fact that maybe law enforcement is just not a good thing. All of us are not bad. I am not as they are. Most of us are not. There are bad people in every career. I'm so goddamn tired. Tired. I give everything.
I mean, dude, if you don't feel anything after watching that, quite frankly, I mean, I feel kind of sorry for you.
I am completely with the guy. I am completely with it. The thing I'm against is when they put that bullshit music on there just to try and make you feel more emotional.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
The guy's words are sufficiently powerful.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need that shit in there.
Yeah, no,
We don't
I
need
agree.
to plug your band as well, okay?
Yeah, it's TikTok. It's TikTok though. Everybody has like one of those like hippie, hit songs that they try to put behind their videos. No, I agree with you though. I agree with you. But that little, minor point aside, I mean, it's horrible because the vast majority of us, right? Hopefully, you're doing what you want to do, or at least something that you don't, feel that you're obligated to do. So you're doing it for hopefully, a good reason to put your family through something, put yourself through school or something like that, or just, be able to put food on the table. Regardless, nobody should be having to go into a job feeling like this man feels, right? Like he is an evil. All of a sudden he's evil because he wears that uniform. It's my same point that I try to make on behalf of white people. Just because they have that skin on doesn't make them automatically an evil individual, right? It doesn't make this man an evil man because he wears a police officer uniform, right? It makes him, first of all, more than anything, more importantly, a human that is needing to put food on his table, right? And probably get his family through life like the rest of us. And clearly, he's not out there trying to commit evil acts. And, he's like this warlock going out there with his magic. Like, it's getting out of control crazy how some people are beginning to paint police officers, right? Like they're automatically evil. Again, I insist, just like to try to say, white people, you have that skin color on you, you must be automatically a racist. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. It's out of control, right? And that's the way I feel about it. And our last two videos are going to kind of solidify it, a little bit of that. But before, if you don't mind, liking the video and hearing that share button, again, I always say, you guys have no idea how much it helps us, right? So if you don't mind doing that, I appreciate it. Check this out. Video, right? Which we have it here. But the article says, woke professor becomes combative when student says police officers are, quote, heroes. All right. So in this one here, it's one of a series of videos of how, in my opinion, woke educators are really becoming a really bad poison in an already corruptive education system here in the United States. Now, before we go on to the article, let me say that there are plenty of videos in which I have backed teachers. I am a big teacher advocate. In fact, I've shared before that my wife herself was an educator. So I back teachers. There's an interview that I conducted with a teacher that unfortunately got corrupted, and I was never able to release that fully. But, she was a teacher that had to quit because of how bad things got, and I was kind of upset about it, and I, wanted to, give her a platform. Again, the video got corrupted, which is besides the point. But I'm a big teacher advocate. There's that other episode, I believe it was episode 41, in which I speak about the disgusting side of distance learning, right? Where you have kids essentially running amok, and it feels like they're parentless. And here we have teachers having to deal with these students. Now, on the flip side of that coin, we now have many woke educators like this professor at a Southern California college who was caught on a video becoming confrontational with one of her students after he called police officers heroes, a sentiment that the teacher strongly disagreed with. Right? So again, we have the video for this. So let's go watch that video very quick. See if you guys want to give your own opinion over it as well.
I agree.
All right. So you brought up the police in your speech a few times. So what is your main concern? Since, honestly, the whole reason police, it is systemic. The issue is systemic because the whole reason we have police departments in the first place, where did it stem from? What's our history? Going back to what Jeremy was talking about, what does it stem from? It stems from people in the South wanting to capture runaway slaves.
Maybe they shouldn't be heroes. Maybe they don't belong on a kid's show.
So I disagree with what Jeremy said about it, because I think cops are heroes and they have to have a difficult job, but we have to have
all of them.
Life. Oh, I'd say a good majority of them. You have bad people in every business and every part.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Police officers have committed atrocious crimes and have gotten away with it and have never been convicted of any of it. And I say this as a person who has family members who are police officers.
Yes, I understand. And this is what I believe. This is my opinion. And this is, not popular to say, but I do support our police, and we have bad people, and the people that do bad things should be brought to justice. I agree with that. But I think that, say it again.
They haven't.
Well, I agree with you on that point of they should, right?
Okay, so what is your bottom line point? You're saying police officers should be revered, viewed as heroes? They belong on TV shows with children?
I think they are heroes in a sense because they come to your need and they come and help you, and they have a problem just like every other business, but we should fix that. But I think they're heroes. Well,
I think that's the problem, is looking at it as a business, because they're actually supposed to protect and serve.
First of all, someone should tell that professor that she lives in a business-like country. Capitalism, you're a professor, you don't understand this? The U.S., I mean, okay, never mind. All right, the point here, right? You have a lady. You notice her just, if you know, this kid wanted to make a point, right? She's there to educate them, and that's fine, you know, debating, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool, it's all good. But it's almost like instead of her educating them in the sense of, hey, let's have a healthy debate, she was almost like defending herself, in my opinion. Getting very emotional, which I don't think is something an educator should do, right? Because they're not having bar talk with a couple friends. It's all about maintaining your composure. You're the educator, you're the leader, right? But she wanted to defend her points. You know, of course, I mean, absolutes are just so dumb. But she, you know, all of them, they're all. Of course not. I think, you know, the kid obviously is smart enough to be like, well, no, I mean, no, not all of them. Obviously, it's like saying all of humanity are killers. That would be a very stupid statement, right? But we can also not disagree that some humans out there are pretty bad people, right? So this individual, this kid, is having his opinion, and he's saying, hey, I do believe cops, the vast majority of them, you know, are heroes. You dial a number, and here comes a human being that is racing into, you know, to possibly put himself in danger, right? 9/11 doesn't ring a bell to anybody, right? I know most of these educators probably were too when 9/11 happened. That's fine. But you know, did anybody see what all these police officers, firefighters, right, that rush into a building that ultimately collapsed on them? How many people would really do that? You ever notice that the vast majority of the people in the streets were running the opposite way? You ever notice that in a burning building, it's not just firefighters that are rushing to help, right? But nobody cares about that. Everybody cares about those unfortunate POSs that do atrocities against people. But they don't speak for the vast majority. But here we have an educator saying, I don't know. I don't know, Timmy. I don't know. I feel like I'm right and you're wrong. That's the way I took it.
All right, here we go. Here's my comment. So, she's not an educator. She's not a teacher. She is someone who is indoctrinating her students into a dangerous, polarizing way of thinking, and she should be fired. If I heard one of my kids being told that bullshit, and then not only was my kid not being listened to by a teacher, but that teacher was imposing their views, no matter what they are, then I'm going to be pissed, right? How many other times have we heard educators get into trouble for pushing some kind of personal view in front? Does that not make sense? Have we not heard that before?
Yeah.
So she's not an educator. I think any good teacher leaves their politics, they leave their opinion at the door. They're there to have a conversation and teach. Teach, not indoctrinate. Indoctrination is different. For instance, it's something, I mean, this might be an extreme example, but it's like Soviet Russia or something like that. You have to believe this. If not,
right,
you go into jail.
Good point.
Nazi Germany, same thing. You don't believe this, you're going to jail. Indoctrination, and more bullshit. Not only that, she didn't even listen to the guy. And the guy had the same reaction that I had, because I went, oh, and he did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So
let me talk. You know, it's like,
I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it.
Yeah, no, he was like, let me talk. Like, you know, he was trying to
exactly.
You know, and she's just like, well, we're talking over him. You know, like again,
Exactly.
like she's having an argument at a bar, you know, or with her friends, right? When these are not her friends, these are her students, right? And I'm all for anybody saying, well, isn't an educator supposed to spark a thought and stuff like that? That's not what this was. This is not her, right? Provoking a thought. This is her, like you said, very well, by the way, indoctrinating, or trying to at least, right? And then because she had, maybe it looks like she had maybe the backing of one student, right? Was like, well, yeah, you know, Pablo over here agrees with me. And so kind of thing, like, what the hell? So check this out. If that one pisses you off, you're going to love this one.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Teacher who blasted students and parents concerned about distance learning gets suspended, and uglier accusations emerge. She called him a moron. She called me a moron. It's a quote. So instead of reading through the whole article, other than this like top piece here, we'll watch the video. So the California high school teacher caught on Zoom blasting students. Hold on real quick. People, we've talked about this. Can you make sure just that you check yourself? If there's a camera, a microphone in front of you, assume it's always on. I make jokes here about my own set that I will be sometimes cleaning my nose out. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Camera there, camera there. I'm like, this could be awkward if it's on the world. I'm very subconscious. Just assume. No, assume. Yeah, get it? Anybody? Anyways, that you're being recorded. So blasting students and their parents who are concerned about distance learning has been suspended pending an investigation, Fox News reported. And additional accusations about her behavior have emerged. Of course, it's always a pattern. Alyssa Pyro, an English teacher at San Marcos High School, told her students that parents could concerns about the performance amid distance learning can, quote, come at me. English teacher, who says that?
I was hoping for more eloquence from an English teacher, honestly. I was hoping she would say, you know, quote Shakespeare or something.
Yeah. Come at me.
Oh my God.
Come at me, Josh. I'm an English teacher. Come at me. The fuck?
You're just missing the bro.
Yeah. Andale. Come at me, bro. Come at me, Holmes. So check the video out. You're going to get a kick of this one.
Themselves out. The haters did. They are forced to bring awareness to the situation that they are in because other people put them in that situation.
My question is, in this case, where is the white student union? Because we need all races
You
equality.
need a white student union, Jake.
Oh.
You get everything.
If your parent wants to talk to me about their profession and their opinion on their profession, I would love to hear that. I know very little about anything else in the world other than education, okay? However, if your parent wants to come talk to me about how I'm not doing a good enough job in distance learning based on what you need as an individual, just dare them to come at me. Because I'm so sick to my stomach of parents trying to tell educators how to do their job. I have never once gone to a doctor's appointment and tried to tell my medical health provider how to treat me. You know why? Because I know nothing about that. I didn't get my degree in medicine. I am going off. I'm sorry. This is my go off period.
At least at the end, she realizes she was going off. But, you know, come at me. I love that. I'm going to make that a soundbite. Come at me. Because here we have an educator, right, who is there to teach. This is not even the previous story, a professor in a university or college. This is in high school. This is a teacher at a high school who is not only saying, come at me, right, but now is like upset because a student is wondering what many people think about when they hear, oh, an Asian community group or whatever the exact title of that was. I don't remember. But the point is, the kid was like, hey, why not have a white community group? And she goes off because you have everything. What are you talking about? It's another moronic statement to say from anyone that just because someone has a skin color, they have everything. I mean, how stupid is that? And from an English teacher, right? Now, if there's anything that I can agree with this individual, and I've said it before, is that there are many parents, helicopter parents specifically. If you guys never heard that term, that essentially is a parent that doesn't know how to lay off and is like covering all the time over anything about their kids, and is very, it's all about control. But anyways, we'll go to teachers and educators and tell them how to do their job, right? I'm all for giving criticism back, specifically to directly to like school boards. I'm all for that, right? These are your children, and you should have a voice in what happens, right? In the education system. Now, this individual here is essentially saying, F you. And let me tell you something, anybody, this applies to virtually anyone. If you're not willing to hear criticism about yourself, you're essentially dead. You're dying. No growth will happen. No self-development. No professional development. And I'm not talking about here, being talked down on or bantering or any of that. I'm talking about just criticism, right? Like she says, like apparently, she's saying parents come at me. And it's quite frankly very, very disappointing to see that, right? Because essentially you have a teacher that's like, Neener, I don't hear you, I don't hear you. You have everything because you're white. I don't want to hear you, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to hear you, come at me. So there you have it. At the end, you're going to have to make your own decision as a parent if you have kids in school, but you should definitely be involved, right? In what is happening with your kids and in their classroom. I'm not saying go and be a helicopter parent, but you really gotta take a deep look into a thorough look, I should say, into what exactly is being communicated to your student, because at the end of the day, that student will become the leaders of tomorrow. So, all right, we'll leave it there, and until next time, see ya.